Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Race 3 of the SUPERLAP F4 Championship at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course gave us our third different winner and his first time out this season. Lincoln Olson took home the checkers in the Pro Class, while Grant Sloan converted yet another race win in the AM Class. Tonight, the Stars and Cars take on Lime Rock Park, and we have chicanes live and in color on Apex Racing TV. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're watching this broadcast. My name is Jeremy Scott. Charles Bochel's alongside, and Jonathan Gabrowski is back in the truck, plugging in the sights and sounds of this classic racetrack. And we've seen from practice already, Charles, that this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for some of these drivers to keep it on the track.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeremy. It's the chicane version of Lime Rock is a notch up from what we normally would be driving here if in the rookie series. These curbs are quite deadly if you tackle them wrong. It's best just to avoid them. You don't even want to bother trying and find a 10th here and there by trying to jump the curbs. But once again, classic track, iRacing, free track on the iRacing service, and it's going to be a really good race. And we'll have, I'm sure, quite a bit to talk about over the course of our 30 minutes tonight.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And of course, also hopefully the wings will be stay planted on the track. We won't have anything landing, but enough of that joke. I had to get that done and out of the way. We've got qualifying underway. 54.801, the fastest time out of Lincoln Olson. He was your winner last time out, as we mentioned, at Lime Rock Park. We're watching Ryan Goff, a tenth of a second behind Lincoln Olson. And I think that it's going to be interesting because, yes, we have the chicanes, but there's plenty of places where these Ligier chassis will just catch up to one another and just stay hooked up.
Yeah, absolutely. The draft is going to play a role in tonight's event, and you'll see cars getting good runs out of on these longer straightaways, because even the not so straightaways are pretty much flat for these cars. Let's be fair; they're not the fastest car in the iRacing service, so you'll get plenty of draft. And you'll have opportunities for some late braking, some overtakes. But I think we've seen, at least I've seen during the course of practice, that braking is going to be a bit of a challenge tonight. Obviously, these cars don't have analog brakes. And so you're going to have to be very, very careful with that left foot as you're trying to get the cars wrapped around the corners.
Now, this being a free track, I've logged a lot of laps. I'm sure you have as well. And trying to master Lime Rock Park is an art, and very few have done it. In fact, the man that this straight is named after is one that comes to mind automatically, the late, great Paul Newman.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some pretty nice names attached with this. The Sam Posey Straight, one of the greatest voices in the history of auto racing, and yeah, Paul Newman as well, gentleman racer, and really put a lot of work into perfecting his craft. So yeah, it's going to be. This is just once again a classic racetrack, and this is going to be a very, very good race, I believe.
Now, I wasn't here last week in Mid-Ohio, so let's go ahead and touch a little bit about what happened during the race. As it's Mid-Ohio, so classic things are going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Mid-Ohio, very, very technical racetrack. There was some really good battles up at the front of the field. We had some nice runs and some nice pack running during the course of the race, but Lincoln Olsen obviously getting the race win with some late race dramatics being involved in that as well. So yeah, really good race. I think the drivers did a really good job, because that is a difficult track to get your mind wrapped around. Lots of elevation and in those corners, and makes it very difficult. I think there's some things that they had to do there that can apply for this race tonight.
Exactly. You're not going to have as much of an elevation change like you do on the second part of the course, but with the chicanes, it does make it more of a technical racetrack. Now, granted, if we didn't run the chicanes 4 to 7, it's technical enough, because you've got to keep your aerodynamic grip about you. You got to make sure you got to keep the car planted, and that makes things just a little bit more easier.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, and these cars, they have aerodynamic grip, but not a lot of it. But, I mean, obviously, it's quite noticeable once you lose that front or rear wing, how much it really affects the car. These cars, once the wings break off, almost impossible to make a corner at speed. So it does help quite a bit. But you still have to be careful of the cornering and getting your speeds right and your line right, in order to make your lap as fast as possible.
And of course, also what some people don't know about this facility is this was originally designed as the quote-unquote short course. There's a longer course. In fact, later on this month, I believe, they're going to have a mountain bike ride around what would be the quote-unquote Grand Prix circuit, because they do this a couple times a year.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. Actually, I don't want to be involved in a mountain bike anything at this point. But yeah, that seems like obviously it looks like a very, very beautiful area. I've actually had a friend that I've made during the course of my broadcasting career, who is one of the admins for another series, who sent me some lovely photos of his father's Austin Healey 3000 running around through here in the late 60s and early 70s, and just fantastic photographs. And so obviously lots of history involved in this circuit.
Well, this is interesting. Eric Hallsman get a start from the back of the pack as checkered flag is out, and we have Olsen up at the front once again. Lincoln Olsen will have our grid here shortly, but the cars will reset and we'll get ready for the warm-up session, which will set everybody up for later on this race. It's a 10-minute warm-up session as the drivers will get out there. Now, we do know that it's 18 degrees, actually now 19 degrees Fahrenheit, 19 degrees Celsius, 23 degrees Celsius on the track. Dry, but it just has looks like that muggy mist to the air, and the wind, as we saw for the flag, was flapping all over the place.
Yeah, it does have quite a bit of gusty wind, and I was just looking at my stats as well. 16 mile per hour. That will affect the cars a little bit. I mean, it's a fairly strong wind. But yeah, not a lot of track temp, and that's gonna make things a little difficult in the early running. Trying to get those tires warmed up and into the proper window on a track that's 73 degrees is going to make that a little difficult. So you might have a couple of laps at the start of this race where you just have to extend your patience until you get the cars and they get the tires in the proper tent, as you see there with Jackson Olsen making contact there, just losing the car coming through the chicane. So we may see a little bit of that in the early going, but hopefully it'll be solos only. We won't have any multi-car collisions, and we can keep racing tonight and have everybody with a chance. And I tell you what, Eric Halsman's he needs to get a little bit. He gets to get off work about a half hour early and get in here instead of qualifying time. I'm sure he's having fun running up through the field, but it always puts him in a little bit of a hole to start these races, not being able to get here in time to qualify.
Yeah, no, it really does. But then again, he's a very talented racer, as we see cars just stopping, spinning all over the place through 1 and 2. There's Ethan Armbruster having some issues, and that's odd.
Is our start. This is our practice start.
Oh, practice start. Yep.
So I still don't think we've had a standing start this season, but they do get the practice starts in, and just to make sure that everybody has a good feel for it, and hopefully they'll start bringing that in and putting the standing starts to use.
Yeah, I think a standing start is an absolutely fantastic feature of this, of really racing to begin with. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense to test the standing start theory. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe race control one day will say, you know what, let's just give it a shot. And I think that you need to do it at a facility where you have wide open spaces on the front stretch for, just in case things go wrong, because let's admit it, they do. And yeah, doing it here is just not wise for the first time.
No, probably not. I mean, it's long enough, but this is not the widest track in the world. So you can go 3 wide down the front straight fairly easily with these cars. But it's probably not the longest trek that you want to make going down into turn 1. So yeah, probably better. Let's just do the practice start, and then we'll roll off and we'll have a rolling start for the race. And we see Latta up there setting a time. So yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. We were, looking at the qualifying times. We had several cars that were only within a couple of tenths of poles. So obviously that's compressed because it's a pretty short lap. So the lap times are going to be a lot more compressed for qualifying. But we still had many cars up there that were within half second or so of the leader.
Yeah, and that's going to happen here. This is, just short of 2 miles. So it's going to be a quick lap. So I think these 30 minutes will go by really fast as this race goes on. Again, this is race number 4 of the season. So still plenty of time to get in a championship run. And looking at Lincoln Olsen, I think he's probably trying to set himself up. Now, remember, you can have a couple of drops as well. So that also probably plays into Lincoln Olsen's late start.
Yeah, for sure. It's always nice to have a drop round there in case you have a bad race, but Lincoln's out there and he's setting the fastest lap in qualifying, setting the fastest lap in our warm-up session. So he looks like he's ready to race tonight, and we'll see. We've had some fast drivers. Once again, we talked about Halsman having a really good pace, but having to start from the back. Maybe that because of this is a pretty short track, maybe that gives him a little bit of help to move to the front. And we've got some other drivers that have ran really well in the early going this season. So we'll keep an eye out for them and see how they make it up. And I'll mention Sean Gaynor and Dom Batts as a couple of names that I've called during the course of this season. So we'll see how it all works out. Bob Keach now with the fastest lap with a 54.86. So we do have some guys up there that look like they're going to be challenging for race victory tonight.
Yeah, it's a tight field so far. Before we get really deep into this race, gotta thank our sponsors, Detroit Region, SCCA, and SUPERLAP. By the way, I was watching the MX5 Cup race earlier today. Not going to give any spoilers. It was a typical MX5 Cup race, so no surprise there. Saw Woody Hyman in the JTR Motorsports number 82 with a SUPERLAP livery. So it's good to see that moving up through the pro ranks. It looks really sharp.
Interesting. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's always good to see when real world meets sim racing. I was kind of obviously I think they had the announcement come out of the new iRacing arcade game for console, and they're going to actually have some logos on a couple of the I think the Porsche 963 for Petit Le Mans this weekend with some graphics there. So that's going to be kind of cool to see the iRacing logo floating around Road Atlanta.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on that one. That's going to be a fun game to play. I know that one of the screenshots actually has the JDC Motorsports 963. Yep. In a shorter version, it looks so cool, but look,
the Hot Wheels version.
Yeah, exactly. Any way to get kids involved in motorsports is always a good thing. And that's why I've always been a big proponent of PJ Hyatt and AO Racing as well. I've known PJ since before he started AO Racing, and to see what he's done with the Spike in Rexy paint schemes, fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I saw that AO they're not quite done yet. There's talk that they may have a NASCAR entry here in the next couple of years. So AO is serious about doing some racing, and they said, you know what, we'll do some oval racing as well. So that'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. But it's always, once again, they're not the only teams that have done that. The name Penske comes to mind as a man who put a car basically in every series imaginable. So it's good to see some other teams branching out, trying new stuff.
Well, there might be an IndyCar team that might be up for sale here shortly. We'll see exactly what happens if you believe rumors. Bob Keach to the top of the time charts, 54.862, 0.02 seconds faster than Lincoln Olson. Your top three, you can cover them with less than a blanket. You might even be able to cover them with a pork chop, as you've got 0.05 of a second separating Olson from Lada. Now Gavin Waters comes into fourth place as we see him on camera with a 55.072. So already drivers kind of getting ready for this race, making moves and trying to do what they can to see what happens. Again, 30 minutes, maybe a long time for some of these drivers, but for us, I think it's going to be quick.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. It'll be a very, very quick race. It'll go by very quickly. Obviously, lots of laps here tonight because we are doing less than 1 minute per lap. So it'll be one of our highest lap counts for the season. Just looking at it, you got top seven separated by just a little over a half second, and then you've got Woods there and sitting in P8, only 7/10 back. So once again, compressed lap times equals tighter field. And it's going to make for a very interesting first couple of laps as the cars and drivers try and just find themselves a little bit of racing room to be able to settle in and get their rhythm. And then hopefully we'll have a nice clean start, and then we'll really get the show on the road once we get around to lap 2 or 3.
Well, and one thing that we haven't talked about yet is setups. How much can these drivers do, outside of warm-up? I know that some series are fixed, others you can make some adjustments. What kind of adjustments can you make in these cars?
We've got these are open setup races, so it's the biggest thing I think for a lot of these guys is going to be, as you're first really getting into racing. This is one of the lower series, right? So one of the first couple of steps on the ladder as you climb up is going to be things like you're going to probably, if you can make a wing adjustment, you'll do that to try and give yourself a little more downforce to keep the car a little more stable if you're not as comfortable with it. And then the other one is brake bias is going to be the other adjustment. As you get a little more familiar with it, you may have a little bit heavier of a left foot, as we saw there with Jackson Olson locking up that inside front tire. As you may want to dial the brake bias back just a little bit to make the car a little less likely to lock the fronts, and so you want to make those adjustments accordingly. So it's based on driver comfort more than it is anything else. I don't think there's going to be a lot of setup change they're going to be able to make that's going to give you an extra couple of tenths. It's going to give you an advantage.
All right, cars are gridding up. Let's take a look at the grid ourselves. Lincoln Olson, your pole sitter, he'll be alongside Dom Batts. Hundredths of a second separate those two drivers. Then it's Brendan Lada and Ryan Goff in row 2. Ethan Armbruster and Joel Campbell make up row 3. Row 4, Sean Fritz, your points leader in the pro category, alongside Bob Keach. And rounding out your top 10, Charles, is Jay Lasco and Gavin Waters.
Yeah, Sean Gaynor starts in 11th. Chris Murray will start outside row 6 and 12th. Archie Wood starts in 13th. Hayden Salka starts in 14th. Ahmed Beydoun starting in 15th. Jackson Olsen starting in 16th. William Grayson 17th. Eric Hallsband starting in 18th. Alex Carter starts 19th. And David Grzinski rounds out your 20-car grid.
I got to say, take a look at that overhead shot. It's amazing how, computer graphics, they look realistic, and then you take a look at the river, and it's like, okay, that's kind of floating, computer floating, 80s, money for nothing vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's, those are nice little features to have that you can see the kind of the stream over, beside or runs parallel to the start finish straight. But, the track and the cars are what we're here for. So we want to make sure that those look nice and pretty, and they do. So it's going to be a really good race. So everybody watching, settle in. 30 minutes of F4 action here at Lime Rock. Once again, get the first couple of laps in, get the tires up to temp, and then let's do some racing.
Chris Murray's in the pits. I think we saw him somehow lose a rear wing off the grid. We'll get some more information on that. So looks like we might start 19 cars here instead of 20. Yeah, he's fallen back 8 spots. So that's a little interesting as we work our way through the no-name straight, actually named the Paul Newman straight. And yeah, there's Chris Murray in the 29.
Yeah, well, I'm going to guess that the mechanic had it secured, so it probably had a little help being taken off the car, but he has towed back to the pits. Is a little bit, obviously, starting the lap is going to be a pretty long tow. So he'll be there for a couple minutes. He's going to be a couple laps down here in short order, but it should be a fairly quick pit stop to reattach that rear wing and get back out there.
Yeah, you think that it would be a quick pit stop, but you know what? There could have been suspension damage too. Yep. We'll find out here in just a little bit as the pace car brings the field down through downhill. They'll take the right-hander, and of course, you got that tight pit entry where the Porsche iRacing pace car will take the right-hander and set up for the race. And indeed, the pace car pulls off. It's going to be front row of Olsen and Botts coming down the Samposi Straight. Welcome to race 4 of the SUPERLAP F4 Championship. We are green. We already go 2, 3, 4 wide, headed into Big Bend. Let's see if everybody can make it out alive. Lincoln Olsen so far is good, but everybody else, for the most part, making it through.
Yeah, it did have one little incident toward the back, and I think that was Beydoun and Bob Keach. Bob Keach has already towed back to the pits. He has some very fast laps in that practice session before the race, but we got caught up in an incident, and you do have another couple. You got Grayson and Lasco as well now showing up with meatballs.
Yeah, Beydoun with meatball, so 3 cars already having to serve some sort of pit issue already as Lincoln Olsen half second. Here's the replay as watching the field come down the Samposi Straight on board with Ahmed Beydoun in the pro category. And yep, there we go. It's just a typical Lime Rock start. One driver gets loose and nobody has anywhere to go.
Yeah, and that was 4 wide going into turn 1, which is probably never going to work. I don't think you're going to find a car in iRacing that will go 4 wide through turn 1 here. And, just a tough break. And as you said, nowhere for anybody to go once you're set like that. I think we had one little tap, and then that set off the chain reaction.
Watching a battle for position between Sean Fritz and Joel Campbell. Fritz up ahead. Of course, you got a couple other cars with Walters, Armbruster, and Woods, who just a 9th, but still able to make something happen if something goes wrong. Goff around Botts and Armbruster with a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. Saw that pop up as Armbruster's taking a little excursion outside of track limits. He has to work that slowdown, which is normally not that big a deal. Obviously, this track, you're going to have some slow points, so it should be fairly straightforward. But Olsen is already starting to check out, up by 1.6 after 2 laps.
Let's see the lap times. Yeah, and he's already a second faster than everybody else regardless. Hallsband up 7 positions in the 255, up to 11th. Part and parcel of that is due to the incident that happened around him, but still, like we said, if he could just get a good qualifying lap in, he would be absolutely dangerous in this championship.
He absolutely would, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how much more he can make up during the course of this, as they're already starting to close that gap down to Gainer in 10th. So we'll see if see what he can do. If he can maybe squeeze a top 5 out of this, that would be an awesome result here at Lime Rock, starting from the back of the field.
That's easily able to be done. We'll see what happens. Of course, you got all the drafting. So once Halsman catches up, a little bit of a slide there. And that was a nice little save as we see Woods with a slowdown penalty. So got a couple of battles you see on the left-hand side of your screen. You've got the battle for second place between Boffbots and Lada. Also Campbell and Waters locked in a battle for sixth place. Then you've got Armbruster, who now went around Woods, who Woods is serving his own slowdown penalty, as Armbruster had one earlier. 3-car battle for eighth, and that's about it. So you got 3 quality battles here so far in lap number 4.
Yeah, still early days yet, but you can see the field starting to spread out just a little bit. But I do see Halsman is now within a second of that battle, sitting there for P8 with Armbruster, Woods, Gaynor, and now Halsman joining that 4-car train.
Bob Keach back out on the circuit, 1 lap down after that incident. Grodzinski is into the pits as well. Not sure. I think, took a meatball penalty, so Keach's meatball has been wiped away. Lada now with a slowdown penalty. So I think we're going to see a lot of these slowdown penalties, Charles, because the chicanes, as we said, they can bite and bite quickly.
Yeah, I think I did see a lot of cars during practice that basically, once they realized they weren't going to make the corner, they just basically drove through the grass and kind of recovered it. But once again, as you're going through the grass, you're actually starting to work on that slowdown penalty off for missing the corner. So it works off pretty quickly. But now then you got to think about it. We do have I believe we do have an incident limit as well. So now you're going to have to worry about 17X. With a drive-through penalty. So now you can only do that move a few times, and then you have to really kind of settle down and make sure that you stay on the track. Otherwise, you'll have to serve that drive-through, and that will be a big chunk of time coming down the pit straight and driving through, and that's obviously going to do a lot of damage to your finishing position.
Yeah, you definitely want to be careful about those slowdown penalties because like you said, you can just get them quick. Grodzinski out of the race already. Lasco back out after the early race incident. Still got this battle for 9th place between Woods, Gaynor, and Halsman. Halsman trying to go high, wide, and handsome through the left-hander. Nobody can do that. Doesn't matter how much downforce you have. And now he sets himself up for the Paul Newman straight. Gets up under the gearbox, and look at that. Side by side, headed towards the uphill chicane, but not going to make anything happen as Gaynor shuts the front door on him. We're on board with Halsman as he tries to make every which way, but I gotta say, Gaynor is making that Ligier chassis just so wide.
Yeah, really running a really strong defensive line, but now we're going to get on this straight, and I think Halsman's going to get about, you see a car off the track there as we get to that second chicane. And
that was Armbruster.
There's Armbruster off the track, so he's dropped a few positions, brings Halsman up to 10th, and now he's got the inside line going into 1.
Yeah, Lada's off course right now, and Halsman up to 9th. We see Lada. Look at how deep he's gone. It looks like he may have missed the tire wall let's take a look at a replay as we see Lada coming down that straightaway in the number 11. He's lost 11 positions from his start and just comes into the Big Bend just a little bit too fast. Oh, I've seen that line. I'm very familiar with that. Oh, yep, that's the left front that's askew.
That is the left front, yeah. And you could see as he was trying to slow down, you saw the inside front tire lock up, and that's what made him go wide. He had to let go of the brakes and try and slow it down a little bit less eagerly, and just couldn't make the corner. So off the track, then into the barrier. So that's going to be a rough day for Lada as he now has a meatball. He is in the pits getting his car repaired.
Joel Campbell and Gavin Waters battling for 5th. Campbell has it. Waters wants it. You saw them side by side down at Samposi Straight, but now they set themselves up for the Paul Newman Straight, known as the No-Name Straight originally. A little bit of loss of a gap there, and you got to stop and figure, yes, drivers can catch up, but it is just so difficult to pass around with the chicanes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you just, once you get into that first chicane, you're basically having to just kind of ride behind. Set yourself up. You want to get a good run out of this chicane and down the hill. set yourself up for a good run there, and then you can either get them there, as he just did on the outside, good move, or wait and pass them on the straightaway, but nicely done there for Walters to take that position.
Well, Campbell also had a slowdown penalty. So that kind of helped also slow down penalties for Halsband and Armbruster. Gainer with the mechanical black flag, the meatball shown to the 13th place driver. So already, in spite of the wide open spaces here at Lime Rock Park, we're seeing just so many incidences. We're taking a look and see what caused Gainer to, the second chicane goes off and bites, catches a wheel and right into the tunnel.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is not where you want to be. So you can see the curb on the outside of the chicane there, just not giving him the grip that he needed, and loops the car around. I think I've done that probably, 150 times or so. During the course of my iRacing days here. So yeah, it's a very difficult one. The other one that we probably won't see because of the chicane. There's I guess a drainage crate on the left side of that going under the bridge that will send your car upward into the sky if you catch it wrong. So hopefully those drivers do not find that tonight.
I can tell you what quarters I spun at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The list goes on and on for Lime Rock Park. It is a difficult circuit to master, and if you can do it, more kudos to you as Woods comes into the pits to serve his meatball flag, and now we see Lada out of the race as well. So 2 drivers out of the race. Of course, not too bad because you do have a couple of gimmies. You can drop a couple of the races. So if you have a bad race, that's why they're there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's this is a nice league when you have a chance to have a race dropped, but obviously the better you score in all the races, the better you're going to do in the championship. But yeah, it's always good to have a little bit of a safety net there. As we see, Goff is I'm kind of just watching that time between him and Olsen. It really hasn't moved very much. I think Olsen may have settled into a good pace, a good rhythm, and is able to kind of watch the timing tower a bit and make sure that he's not sloughing off and letting Goff give Goff a chance to catch back up. Also watching Halsband now up into P7, so he's made some good moves as we see a car that just barely missed the corner there as we're coming around in front of Armbruster here. I can't tell who that is. I'm going to guess it's probably Keach. I'm not really sure, so I don't know who we're lapping there. So
that was actually Ahmed Beydoun who were lapping as Armbruster cops another slowdown penalty. Interesting to see how many penalties he's had. I can count at least 4 or 5 that I've seen. So we're at the point now where these drivers who are having so many slowdown penalties might want to think about taking the chicanes just a little easier as the battle for 5th heats up between Walters and Campbell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for 2 reasons. Obviously, you don't want to have a drive-through, which I mentioned earlier. The other reason is the more you kind of stretch the track limits, the more dangerous this track becomes. You start jumping all those curbs and start riding the curbs coming out of the chicanes. It just makes that more likely that you're going to end up finding yourself into the barrier. So it's a good idea to just maybe tighten up the, lift a little early, tighten up your line, and just make good laps. And, there's enough cars that are, making mistakes that you're going to be able to capitalize on that going on a little further down the race. We're only 11 minutes in.
The one thing that I find interesting, so I troll the Detroit Region SCCA Discord chat, and a lot of these drivers are actually not open wheel drivers in real life. They'll either race autocross with their street car or their closed wheel GT drivers. So it's kind of cool to see that some of these drivers kind of stretching their legs a little bit and racing something that they normally don't race in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good, and it's obviously these are the guys that you're going to compete against at the track. They've probably all met each other at some point in time, so it's good to get that camaraderie here in the sim where it doesn't cost you nearly as much money if you make a mistake. So yeah, it's always good to get that, because I've always said this to my team. that I manage, I said, there's every car that's in iRacing will teach you something about driving. And it doesn't matter what format it is. The F4s are going to teach you how to handle a loose race car that's pretty pointy, and it's going to help you get better at your trail braking as you're trying to slow the car down without losing the rear of the car. So every car here will teach you a little something about your driving and your racing ability. So it's good to be able to get out there in something that may be a little unfamiliar and take it around the track.
Yeah, and of course, here's the thing. You don't necessarily need to do it in a racing format per se. Go out and do a test. I can't tell you how many test sessions that I've done where it's just me and the racetrack is Grayson who's on course after early race woes, gets a slowdown penalty. And those who are new to Apex Racing, that's what you're going to see. The yellow means a slowdown penalty, and then you'll see either a black square or a black square with a orange circle in the middle. That means that they've got to come in pick because they've either had some sort of infraction or they have something wrong with their car. Still have this battle going on that we're watching with the Bats trying to catch up to Goff, but also Murray, Saka, and Armbruster, who keeps hitting penalties left and right, all locked in a battle for 8th.
Yeah, still battling. These three cars are still fighting each other there for P8 overall. With Murray with the advantage for the time being, but Salka and Armbruster right there. Armbruster may be up closer to the top 5 without all the slowdowns he's had during the course of this race. He's really kind of tripped over himself a little bit during this. And just looking up there, Hallsband is up to P7, but really hasn't made any time up on Campbell, sitting there in 6th. So I think he's kind of hit his limit of, at least for the time being. We'll see as the race goes if these tires wear a bit more, if Hallsband is able to save his stuff a little bit and maybe make a late charge here in the final few laps.
Yeah, and of course, these tires are hitting their peak for some of these drivers. We're just about halfway in this race. Haven't talked much about our leader. Well, that's because he's 3.3 seconds abreast of the field. Lincoln Olsen trying to go 2 for 2 this season after winning last time out at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And look, there's only a handful of drivers that are behind him that you can see in the shot. Ryan Goff sits in 2nd place in the number 12 with Don Potts and Sean Fritz. And rounding out the top 4 in pro, your AM leader, once again, Gavin Walters. Joel Campbell sits in 6th place. Eric Halsman, the climber of the race, 11 spots in the 255 to 7th. 8th goes to Chris Murray right now. Hayden Saka sits in 9th. Rounding out your top 10 is Ethan Armbruster. So feel kind of strung out just a little bit. Everybody trying to find their pace. And yeah, you see those yellow squares. Those are really going to define a driver's race with the slowdown penalties. And that's one of the drivers who needs to take a slowdown penalty. And he has Don Botts. And of course, sometimes it's just as easy as braking a little harder into a corner, or it's absolutely just getting off the throttle.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody has their own way of kind of melting these slowdown penalties off. Some are better than others, to be fair, as we see the battle here, and that is the 13 car sitting on the outside of Armbruster. Looking to the outside, obviously that's probably not going to be the way around going into that chicane. You'd have to do something pretty dramatic at the first half of that to be up to beside the car going through the second part, and that's a very, very tight corner. So he's going to hang around here in P10. I did see Saka actually has kind of fell off of Murray just a bit. He was actually even with him coming down the front straight the last time by. So apparently he maybe made a mistake, or of a little bit of a mistake that's actually cost him some time. So they're going to have to just do a little work to see if they can catch back up.
Yeah, Saka and Armbruster, 2 drivers. A big question of what might have been, because remember also Armbruster with that spin that he had several laps ago in the second chicane, which it seems like that second chicane for Armbruster has been giving him some problems, and Hall's been now copping a slowdown penalty as well. Let's see what happens here. Nothing off, and Armbruster, actually that's probably the most perfect chicane that he's taken so far, but now he's got to go down the San Posey straight, catch up to Saka, and try and make something happen through Big Bend.
Yeah, and absolutely. And so you get a good run here going down into turn 1. He's going to take it on the inside very, very deep, late on the brakes.
Oh,
Able to make that work. So great job there. Nice move by Armbruster to get around Saka going through turn 1.
textbook pass heading through Big Bend. I saw Ryan Goff dropped a couple of spots here as we're going to take a look at the replay of this pass. And yeah, just watch how he tucks in, gets right in that slipstream, and just as he gets past pit out, that's where he pops out. I almost thought that he was a little too, might have been a little net code there. Yep. I almost thought he was a little bit too early, but really, that was perfect.
Yeah, that was well done. That was picture perfect, exactly how you would want to do it. So great job by Armbruster there. Oh, not a great job by Goff there. Those are the curbs, and those chicane curbs, once again, you see what happens if you take those, if you take too much of those, it just basically, sends the car flying.
Yeah, you got to lay off those bread loaves because they're done baking, and they're hard. They're the bloody gum bread, hard crusty bread. As we've got just almost everybody's out there on the course that started the race. Lada and Gradzinski, and just I say that Woods goes into the pits for some sort of transgression. We'll see what happens here if he gets back out. But 17 cars out there on the circuit. We see Fritz all over the back of bats again. Fritz is your points leader so far in the pro category, yet to really see the fruits of who's going to come out there and win. Is look at this, just the two lines together. That's an interesting approach through turn 3.
It is. I've just looked at the timing. I don't know what happened. We were just talking about Olsen being 4 seconds ahead. Now he's 11 seconds ahead of Bots. That's crazy. I don't know what happened and where, but that's pretty significant of a gap between Olsen and Bots. And we see Fritz there is now looking. I think he's wanting that position back, and no such luck yet. And he's going to have to get a little bit closer to get that good slipstream down the front straight.
He might be able to get now. He's 0.4 of a second behind. He's not going to be able to get it. His Goff has to take a slowdown penalty. He might do that going into Big Bend, not on San Posey straight, as he's got enough room to do it either way he wants to. But nonetheless, yeah, it's interesting to see how that gap has grown with Olsen. Of course, that's what happens in some of these series where, you have light aerodynamics and you got to try and balance it evenly as Halsbin comes back onto the circuit after what looked like a little bit of an off-course excursion, but he's all by himself in 7th. So, no harm, no foul. Feel out the car, see how it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. He's dropped off a bit from Campbell ahead, and was working that gap down. I think he had it down under 4, maybe 3.5, and now a couple little mistakes, and it's ballooned back up. It's 5.8. So, but he's still having a good run up into P7. But man, just get a top 10 qualifying time, and we may be talking about him out there leading the pack.
So much left to play for as we see the battle for who's going to be on the bottom step of the podium between Bots and Fritz. And that looks like one car's off, and that's going to be Gaynor that's going to be off course through turn 4 and trying to kick up a little bit of mud. And is it more than dirt that's there? That's just dirt. Let's see what happened here as makes his way out of 2, setting up for the left-hander at turn 3. And let's see, through the right-hander and just loses it.
Wow, that's interesting. No curb help or anything. That was just him, maybe a little too much throttle coming out of 4 there, and just not enough wing to keep the car aligned properly.
I've done that there, so yeah, that's nothing new for me. It's like, yep, I've been there. I've done that. So if it's happened here, most likely I've done it. Woods is out of the race, so Archie Woods going to take an 18th place finish after this race. Might use that as one of the drops that are available to him. 11 seconds separates your leader from second place, and right now Olsen has not put a wheel wrong thus far this race. So interesting to see that the next car that's under attack to go one lap down, that's going to be Jackson Olsen and Hayden Saka, as you see there on your screen.
Yep, and that's I was going to say that's probably his brother. So he's about to lap. I've had instances where we had brothers race it in the same room with the rig sitting next to each other, and then getting on the track and just absolutely having monster battles. I don't know what their setup is, but my guess is there'll be some talking done after the race once this once this is over with.
Yeah, that's the fun part about racing your brother. You can go fisticuffs, and then in the morning you can apologize.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just beat your opinion into your sibling. We're looking at the back of Bots as we see Fritz getting so close to the number 10's gearbox, headed toward the West Bend chicane. So far, so good. Oh, nice little look on the inside from Bots, but Fritz shuts the door on him. Now they work their way under the bridge and through downhill. And this might be the opportunity Bots needed, but Fritz is going to cover them. They're going to go side by side down the front straightaway. And I've got to say, Bots has the line, but does Fritz able to hold on high, wide, and handsome? They're still side by side through Big Bend, and Fritz is going to take the advantage, but is the over-under going to work? It might work. Heading into the left-hander. No, it's not.
No, absolutely not. Good try, though, but Bots took that way deep on the inside, was all over that inside curb, and managed to hang on to it, but got a good run off the curb, able to make turn one successfully and hang on to his position for at least for this lap.
So yeah, now Bots has to figure out which way Fritz is going to go. It's going to be a little bit of defense, I should say a lot of defense, as Goff goes off course once again, loses a position. Oh, a little bit of wiggle there as Walters goes up there, still nose to tail down the Samposi straight. A little bit too far away for Fritz to make anything happen, but still plenty of time for any sort of pass. Here's a replay on what happened.
No, let's take a look here at Ryan Goff, and this is through the chicane, locking up the front, catching both curbs, and that's never going to work. Loops the car around, trying to see if it didn't look like he hit anything other than the curbs. So it looks like he's still going to continue on running in sixth position, but now he's got Halsman, who was probably smelling blood at this point, only about 3 seconds back. So he'll be looking to see if he can make up some of that, and he is just behind Campbell. So we may have us a nice three-car battle here in short order, but still this battle continues on between Murray and Armbruster.
You would think that Goff would have learned the first time not to hit those bread loaves, but sometimes the digital helmet just gets a little too wide there, and you try and get that battle. There's that battle between Campbell and Goff. Goff trying to close in on fifth place. Campbell down the Samposi straight as Campbell going to take a defensive line, but Goff's going to go around the inside. He might get that position through Big Ben, and indeed he does. Campbell going to let him have it as the faster car prevails for the time being. And once again, it's another case of what could have been. If Goff could have stayed on circuit, I think that he would have, he would be battling for this podium.
Yeah, I think you're right. Just mistakes, your own mistakes costing you positions. But Goff able to get back to P5, and he's still taking that inside curb there, or the outside curb there. Going into that chicane. Do you think he had learned his lesson by now with those? But it's really tight going here to the chicane. Good job by Goff. So the battle we were watching earlier between Bots and Fritz, I think Fritz is probably faster in the midsection of the track, but it just seems like Bots gets a really good run out of that final chicane and gives himself enough of a gap that Fritz can't really do anything with it going down the front straight.
No, and I really do think that is the truth, because Bots is just faster, where you really can't make a pass without having a high risk involved in it. I mean, you can make a pass right here, but then again, you really got to set yourself up and get heavy on the binders just in time to make that chicane through the uphill. And let's see what happens here through West Bend. And yeah, Fritz is just really good at closing in on the chicanes, but once we get through the downhill, that's where Bots really shines. Of course, I think part and parcel of that is the fact that the 10 likes to cut off the inside and make Fritz work for that outside. But yeah, Fritz is closing in, but not enough to make anything happen.
Yeah, he's only getting about a tenth and a half down that front straight. So he's able to close the gap back down. He gets it down, and as you see now, it's under 3/10 or right at 3/10. So he's able to make some moves here, but just there's no place to pass here. You could make this lunge going down into the first chicane, but that is a low percentage move. And you have to be still have to be closer than 3/10 to be there. You'll always have to be side by side. You see some smoke from the car in front coming through there. Both those cars getting through. No curb touching, as we see a lap down car in front. Couldn't tell who that was, but as they work their way down, and you see the 3/10 gap, and it just kind of opens up there. And this back up to a half second when you get to the bottom of the hill, and that's just too far out for Fritz to make any kind of progress.
I think that's Jackson Olsen that they're making their way around, and indeed that is, as Bots gets a slowdown penalty. Oh, this is huge for that battle for second place, and Fritz will easily be able to get around unless he slows him down. There's a touch. Oh, that was not good, and the stewards will not like that one as Fritz tries to hold off Bots for second place. You're on board with Bots as he tries to get that second place back, heading into the uphill chicane, and this could be game over as Fritz locks up the brakes going into the chicane and also copped a slow down penalty.
Yep, just locked up going in, could not make that quarter entry there into the first chicane, and Bots gets that position back. But that's just one of those, he was trying to work that slowdown off, but he wasn't really moving off the racing line very much. I think he was trying to be a little sneaky and hold that position and cover off Fritz while trying to burn that slowdown, and Fritz wouldn't have anything to do with that.
Gotta say, the one driver we haven't talked much about is our leader, Lincoln Olsen, coming around lap traffic. As you see the time on the screen, it'll be white flag this time for the number 16. He won last time out at Mid-Ohio, trying to make it 2 for 2, but the way that he's racing these lap down cars, he might actually make it happen as he's just making this track around the track, I should say, with ease.
Yeah, having a great run, and he's, we're looking at, I think he's coming up to Salka, I believe, is the next car in line. And so he'll be trying to lap the P10 car, after 29 minutes. And this will be, I guess, the final lap. So we'll be on a white flag right now.
Yeah, white flag this time for your leader, Lincoln Olsen. 15 seconds a gap between first and second. And Hayden Salka is the next driver who is set to be put one lap down. But I've got to say, this has been nothing but a dominating performance out of Lincoln Olsen. Winning last time out in Mid-Ohio, as we mentioned. This time, he is led from the drop of the green flag. He let the trouble behind him try and do the talking, and really, after setting that fast lap, he settled into a rhythm, which is something you really need to do here around the Lime Rock Park. Through the downhill, your leader, Olsen, will come down and see the checkered flag and win back-to-back and be the first repeat winner here in SUPERLAP F4.
Yeah, great run by Olsen as we're going to get this P2 battle here between Bots and Fritz coming around the final corner.
Yeah, so far Bots has it. Fritz wants it. Fritz is not going to get it. It's going to be 1/10 of a second separating the two drivers as they come across the line. And right behind them is going to be your AM winner. It's Gavin Walters who will take the checker flag.
Great job by Gavin, finishing fourth just off the podium for the overall. So great job by Gavin to pick up that P4 and the AM victory. As we have other cars, Eric Hallsman coming in, finishing in sixth, up 12 positions. Hard charger the race, starting all the way back down in 18th, finishing in P6. Had a great run, made a couple mistakes, so he might have been in the top 5.
As we've got one more driver to take the checker flag, and indeed that does it. As Keach is going to do donuts and kind of destroy his car in the process, making some long nights for his mechanics. Lincoln Olsen, as we mentioned, is your winner today here at Lime Rock Park, followed by Don Bots, Sean Fritz, and Gavin Walters. Ryan Goff rounds out your top 5. Eric Hallsman makes his way up to 6th place. I cannot wait to see when he gets a full qualifying session in, because it'll be lightning. That's Joel Campbell, Chris Murray, Ethan R. Brewster, and rounding out your top 10, Hayden Salka, the first car, one lap down.
Yeah, Jackson Olsen finishing in 11th, Bob Keach in 12th, Alex Carter finishes in 13th, Jay Lasco finishing in 14th, Sean Gaynor in 15th, William Grayson 16th, Ahmed Baidoun finishing in 17th, and then Archie Woods in 18th. Brennan Latta finishes in 19th, and David Grzinski rounds out the 20-car finishing order. Obviously, not a great day for David or for Brennan Latta, finishing well off the top there, down in several many laps down.
Yeah, the first lap incident really took out a lot of fast contenders, but nonetheless, it was one driver who basically led them all and put on a clinic, as far as I'm concerned, here at the Lime Rock Park chicanes courses, as we bring in our race winner. It's going, there we go. Bring our race winner. First of all, Lincoln, congratulations. A 15-second gap. Did you think that you were going to be able to do that here?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I knew I had a pretty strong pace going in, and consistency was strong. Definitely not expecting to have that big of a gap. I think I was just able to break away at the start and kind of break that draft. So, yeah, it was pretty good.
And he had to break away early on because the Big Bend usually creates a lot of problems in the first lap of any race here at iRacing. And of course, it reared its ugly head near the back, but still a great start, and really that's all you needed.
Yeah, I was super happy to get pole. It was super tight with Dom. Definitely didn't expect to have quite that big of a gap, but ideal race to not have to be fighting everybody, but makes it not quite as fun.
Charles?
Oh, yeah, Lincoln, great job. So we had a lot of, do you think the battle there in the first couple of laps from some of the cars that were going to end up trying to chase you down just really kind of hampered them to give you that gap at the start of the race?
Yeah, it was super good. Just kind of pulled away and made sure I was staying super consistent. Ended up finishing the race without any incidents, so it was pretty good on my end. Just keep it consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. Great race. Jeremy, back to you.
Yeah, so you missed the first two races. Of course, we mentioned that with the format, you can. Rest of the season now, it's just going to be game on for you as you try and get this championship.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to be missing next week. I have some real-life racing stuff next week. So I will be having a week with 0 points, so it's going to be a steep hole to climb out of, but hopefully I can get it done.
And of course, next week is Road Atlanta, so Charles and I will talk about that a little bit. Congratulations. Dominating performance out of you, Lincoln Olsen.
Yeah, thank you, guys. If I could have a moment to thank everyone, my parents at home supporting me. They're very excited behind me. I know I have some grandparents watching and uncles. Thank you, guys. Also, thank you to my partners, Pennzoil, Capaldi Racing, and Victor Automotive. Couldn't do it without you guys.
Capaldi Racing. Say hi to Craig for me.
Yeah, we'll do.
That was your race winner, Lincoln Olsen, in the Prodigy Racing colors, the number 16. So, all right, as we mentioned, next weekend, we'll have Road Atlanta. A lot of drivers will be able to see what's going on there because this weekend, the real-life IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship runs there, Petite Le Mans, but we saw how much mayhem it was early on. I think it's going to be more mayhem through the S's at the start next weekend.
Yeah, there's a couple of corners that anytime I'm there and watching a race or doing commentary, there's always a couple of corners that seems to catch people out. You mentioned the S's. I'm actually more concerned about these cars going through turn 5 over by Spectator Hill. That is just a difficult corner. It doesn't matter what car you're in, but the fact that these cars really are not fond of curbs makes that a bit more challenging. And then that chicane 10A and 10B on the back part of the circuit at the end of the back straight, you get those hard braking zones, and then you got to try and work your way through that chicane, and it just seems like it always trips up a car or two coming through there. And of course, you also have the outside curbs there to deal with as well. But just a tight set of corners that just seems like always kind of catches a few drivers out trying to keep a clean line through there and give the other driver racing room. So those are always the two hot spots I'm looking for. But that being said, love Road Atlanta. It's a great place to visit if you've never been there. Fantastic racing circuit to go watch a race. I would absolutely say Spectator Hill there coming on the outside of turn 5. Fantastic area. You can see all the S's. You can see the chicane. You can see them running their way down from 5 into 6. It's just a great place to watch a race. So it's also a great place to do some commentary. So we'll see it next week.
Yeah, no, definitely. I totally agree with that. And of course, hopefully you'll join us here on Apex Racing TV. It'll be 8:15 Eastern, 7:15 Central here in the United States. Once again, for Charles Michelle, my partner, broadcast partner, Jonathan Grabowski, back in the truck, giving you the sights and sounds of Lime Rock Park. My name is Jeremy Scott. Again, keep it pointed forward, greasy side down, and always moving. Thanks for joining us. Take care, everybody.